Okay, so this is going to be my recap of Kindred Season 1, Episode 1, Dana. So Dana is a young woman who is obviously going through some transition in her life. And it was made apparent when she sat down to have dinner with her aunt and her uncle. Her aunt name is Dennis. I forget the uncle's name, but I think he's LAPD. He's an officer. And so she sat down and told him that she bought a house. And of course, they're shocked. Like, what are you talking about?
Wait, what do you mean you bought a house? Where? Here. I'm moving to Los Angeles.
And they inquired about how she was able to afford the house. And then she revealed that she had sold the brownstone in New York that was left to her by her grandmother.
I sold the brownstone.
What?
You what?
I know. I thought it would take like at least a year, and it went in like a weekend.
And she moved to LA. So of course they're like, okay, this is, and it happened so fast and she didn't tell anybody about anything that was going on with her. And so of course they asked her, like, how did you find this house? And you know, when she said that she did the virtual tour, her uncle was like, wait a minute, you bought a house offline?
I mean, I saw it online.
Wait a minute. You bought this off the internet?
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
It's actually not.
So the conversation got a bit heated. Her aunt, Denise asked her uncle, told him, go to step outside to get some fresh air, so she could talk to her. And so she's trying to, deal with it. And of course she asked her, like, okay, so what are your plans? And so she said her plan is to break into writing for TV.
Actually, I'm trying to break into writing for television.
And so of course her aunt is like, oh my God. So in this scene we're also introduced to Kevin. Kevin is their waiter.
Are we ready to order?
Oh, no, thank you. Just in a few minutes.
So the dinner ended, and Dana continued her conversation. She's, struck up a conversation with Kevin, and he ends up giving her a ride home. Wouldn't I recommend? But complete stranger. But they talked, and he seemed, at first glance, as a halfway decent person. Now, I'm going to jump back to the opening. The way the episode actually opened, Dana is actually injured. She's on the floor of this house.
Kevin.
And she's struggling to get herself together. She is clearly, there's blood all over her. She goes to the refrigerator. She sees there's a gun in the refrigerator. How did they get there? And then she goes to get herself cleaned up. And the next thing you know, her house is surrounded by police, and her aunt is outside, and they're trying to get into the house to get to her.
Dana, we need to speak now. We're concerned about your well-being.
Now, that scene happened 2 days later. So we're assuming 2 days later, after she had the dinner with her aunt and uncle. So, flash forward. After dinner, like I said, Kevin ends up giving her a ride home. And they talked. And seemed like, they exchanged a number.
So you're new here.
How can you tell?
So this is the first night that Dana had this experience, right? So she goes to bed in her house, and she wakes up, and she's in a completely different place. She's kind of disoriented. She can see a figure. She can hear a baby crying. And of course, she get up to go to the bassinet. The baby is somehow turned over, face down, something. So she ends up picking the baby up to turn the baby over, and ends up saving the baby's life. We learned that the baby his name is Rufus. So she hears a conversation going on. She goes into the hallway to see what's going on. You see Margaret and you see Olivia having a conversation. They both see someone in the shadows. And Olivia asks, who is that? Like you normally would. And Dana steps out. And you can see on Olivia's face that she kind of sort of recognizes Dana.
It's Dana.
So Dana, of course, wakes up, and she chalks it all up to being somewhat of a dream. So Dana's aunt comes to the house. She wants to see the house. She's like, what does this girl buy offline? And she's doing what she's walking around and saying, oh, okay, like, why is your sheet out here, girl? What you need some towel? Where are your towels? Where are your bath mats? And
So where are your towels?
She voiced her concerns, like, I'm concerned. Your mother, I loved my sister-in-law. Your mother was a good person, but her mind was fragile.
Olivia was like a sister to me, but her mind was very fragile.
And these things could be genetic. Like I'm like her, because she's voicing her concerns. And of course Dana's like, why are you worried about it? Y'all left me in that brownstone for over a year. Nobody called on me, nobody checked on me. So why are you now feeling like I need to like run things by you before I make decisions for my own life? And of course they end up partying on bad terms. And that was that for a while. So she ends up calling Kevin. She meet up with Kevin. Kevin ends up taking her shopping because she doesn't have a car. And of course he made a comment like, girl, if you're going to leave, you need to get a car. She's like, I'm from New York. People don't get cars there, public transit and all thing. So, they talked, and she found out that Kevin used to be in the band, and they seem to hit it off. So, of course, Kevin ends up back at the house, and they spend the night together. And then she has another situation where she heard a cat. And so she went to get the cat, and then when she turned around, she noticed there's like water everywhere, like all over the floor. And she is now, I guess, had another episode where she's now back in the past. And you realize that she sees this little boy face down in the water and who appears to be drowning. So she goes to save the little boy. This is now Rufus. So you see time works different. For her, it's only been like a couple of hours, maybe like 24 hours. But when she jumps back, it's like years. Because now Rufus is a little boy now. So she has now saved his life yet again. And she saved him from drowning. And so Kevin finds her in the living room, and he's trying to figure out like what is going on. She's trying to explain to him what's going on. And of course, to a normal person, it seems strange.
Suddenly, I wasn't here. I was somewhere else.
Where?
I don't know.
And so he made a comment about her being a princess. So when he made that comment, she was like, why would you say that? Now, he overheard the conversation about her selling the brownstone and all that while he was serving them. And so she felt some kind of way, and she ends up telling him to get out. So while he was apologizing profusely, his back was turned and she was standing in the closet, she started having another episode. And by the time he turned around, she screamed his name. He turned around, she was gone. So now he's looking in the closet trying to figure out, okay, where the hell did she go? She's in this house that's burning. Once again, there's a little boy beside her, Rufus. So she ends up saving his life again. There's some connection between her and Rufus. Seems like every time he's in distress, she's somehow pulled somewhere to save him. And so, but this time, she meets Luke. Luke is a slave is another slave on the plantation. And so he asked her if she was looking for Olivia, and he ended up telling her how to find Olivia. And so she get there, she finally sit down with Olivia, and you find out Olivia is her mother. Olivia, she asked her what the year was. He found out it's 1815.
What year is it?
It's 1815.
And of course, she asked Dana what time, the year where she's from. It's 2016.
2016.
And Olivia ends up saying, I've been here 11 years, but of course, time works differently. And this is the first time that Olivia found out that Dana's father didn't make it. She thought, because she was asking her, like, what did they tell you about me? And she said that, he died. Apparently, there was a car accident. Olivia was driving. They got into a car accident. She kind of jumped in the past, and she obviously wouldn't know what happened to him because she was gone. And she's now finding out that he died. And, of course, she is devastated.
What has your father said about what happened?
At this point, the overseer is coming up, and he's like trying to figure out what's going on. They make a run for it, and he catches up with Dana, slams her on the ground, and he's trying to assault her. He's trying to strangle her. Olivia comes to save her, and she comes to with Kevin. She's on the floor in the kitchen, and he's trying to bring her to and trying to figure out what's going on with her, how she ended up in the kitchen.
Dana! Wait!
And that's pretty much how this episode ends.